parent reasoning with a child, so let's give our attention.
So, Briley, we've been working super hard trying to get out as many invitations as possible for the memorial.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, it made me start thinking about the very first campaign that we had to invite people to the memorial. You know, you were just a few months old. You were a little baby in a sling that I carried around. And I was thinking, have you ever wondered why people go to so much extra effort and they work extra hard to maybe take their children out in service or take time off work to invite people to the memorials?
Well, I think it's important because Jesus died for us.
That's right, he did. And I wanted to take a couple of minutes to go over with you the significance and the importance of the memorial, why we go to it each year. There's some scriptures that can help us see that. One is in Luke chapter 22 and verse 19. And I think you can read that for us. What's it say?
It says, also, he took a loaf, gave thanks, broke it, and gave it to them, saying, this means my body, which is to be given in your behalf. Keep doing this in remembrance of me.
Good. So what did Jesus tell his apostles?
Keep doing this in remembrance of me.
That's right. So when we go to the memorial each year and we hear that talk, it helps us bring back to our minds all the important things that Jesus' death accomplishes. You know, there's another scripture, and it helps us see what one of those things are. It's in Hebrews chapter 9 and verse 15. Notice what it says. So that is why he is a mediator of a new covenant, in order that because a death has occurred for their release by ransom from the transgressions under the former covenant, the ones who have been called might receive the promise of the everlasting inheritance. So who do you think it's talking about when it says the ones who have been called?
The 144,000.
That's right, those who will reign with Jesus and rule with him in heaven. But you know, Jesus' death does something else. Let's think about one of your favorite songs, Jehovah's Warm Appeal, Be Wise, My Son, number 89. Well, Jesus is the best example of someone who gave a reply to Satan, the one taunting Jehovah, because he stayed loyal. Why do you think, or how do you think it was that he stayed loyal?
Well, I think he never disobeyed Jehovah and he never sinned.
That's right. He kept his integrity. And by doing that, he proved that Adam and Eve were rebellious, not that Jehovah had created an error when he created them or made a mistake. And also, Jesus' death, it vindicates Jehovah's sovereignty or his right to rule the humans. Let's read one more scripture in John chapter 3 and verse 16. Can you read this one too?
Sure. It says, for God loved the world so much that he gave his only begotten Son in order that everyone exercising faith in him might not be destroyed but have everlasting life.
That's right. So Jehovah gave his son Jesus for what?
To die for us so that we could live forever on earth.
That's right, he did. And you know, earlier we talked about a ransom in that scripture in Hebrews. Do you know what the word ransom means?
Well, it means to give a certain amount of money to someone else and then they would release something else.
It can mean that. It can. But in this case, what we needed was a ransom to pay back what had been lost, and that was a perfect life. We can kind of think about it like when we used your science scale, and we had that scale, we had to balance it on each side and have the exact same amount of weight. If Jesus needed to pay a perfect life for a perfect life, and that's what he did. When he remained loyal, he proved that humans can stay loyal to Jehovah even under difficult circumstances. And because of that, billions of people have the chance to never grow old, get sick, and die. Now do you see why it's so important that we invite as many people as possible to the memorial?
Yeah, I do.
Thank you, Sister Hannah. Thank you, Briley. You did a nice job there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Sister Hannah, appreciated in reasoning with your child, you used a very simple illustration there to help her understand the ransom with a scale, but she was obviously familiar